How many times have you thought that all the problems in the world could go away if people just understood what you understand? Because there are so many different points of view, one for every person in the world, we all look at the same things from different angles. And the way we understand things is affected by bias, which is our perception of the way things are or should be, even if it's not totally accurate. For example, you might be biased to think that another student who has dirty, torn clothes might be from a poor family, when maybe they just had an accident that day or spilled their lunch on their shirt. A lot of our biases tend to be about gender. For example, historically, people assumed that boys were good at being athletes and girls were good at being helpful. Biases about gender come from pre-formed expectations about the differences between men and women, and they're some of the most common in our society. We even use them to be funny. Think about a commercial you've seen where the dad doesn't understand how to do something, so he has to buy something or hire someone. One way gender bias has a major impact on our society is with regard to work. While women can do nearly every job that men can, many are paid less than men for the same job. On average, for every dollar that men make, women make about 80 cents. Women even tend to ask for less money in job interviews than men do. Biases often form when people don't interact as much with people who are different from them. This happens a lot with race. Since people of one race may not have much interaction with people of another race, bias often comes up between white, black, Asian, Hispanic, or Native American persons when they do come into contact with one another. This is often called prejudice, which means judging someone without knowing their background. Racial biases may affect how people are treated. For example, a bias exists where black people are thought to feel less pain, so doctors give them less medicine for pain. The same racial bias exists when people borrow money from a bank. White persons tend to pay less for loans for cars and homes than persons of other races. But not all racial biases are negative. Perhaps the most popular, supposedly positive bias is that Asian persons are better at math. However, this still creates the idea that people are not equal. It still says that some people simply are or are not good at something because of their race, regardless of their own individual personality, which is simply not true. Since you can find nearly everything on the internet, you can find a lot of points of view and a lot of bias. Whenever you come onto an internet page, think carefully about any bias behind it. Who is the author? What do they want you to believe? Are all the facts available? And if not, who chooses the facts that do and do not appear? It's easy to read a web page and believe every word, but every web page exists for one reason or another, and you can reduce your own bias by trying to better understand the bias behind what you're reading.